morning, class. It is time to do some research. We're going to be doing the Unit 3 research module on the Great Depression today. This video is going to be an overview. We will have other videos here, but for the first part, you need to know what the assignment is. You need to know what your expectations are. And so this is going to be a quick walk through the general assignment. You also have an overview that you should read through here. We'll talk about a couple of these things in the video, but you should also pause the video while you're going through it. Do some of this yourself, or figure out what works best for you. Maybe watching the video first and then doing all the stuff is better than doing it step by step. You have to find out for yourself. So in this unit, we're taking a look at the Great Depression and the same country that you picked in Unit 1. So back when we did the foundations of the country, how was that country founded? What was their government like? What are aspects of their society and economics? We did more research on your choice in Unit 2. And this unit, we're asking you to pick a topic yourself, but within the context of the Great Depression and your research country. You're going to be adding your new sources and your new documents to NoodleTools to the same project from before. We're not switching topics here. It's better to inquire deeply about one thing that interests you than spread out and find out a little bit about multiple things that might not interest you. So we again have given you different categories to focus on. I really recommend Leaders' Response to the Great Depression for this one, just because it is a very frequent paper 3 topic. It could also actually be useful for paper 2s, depending on the country that you picked and the region that you picked. But I really recommend Leaders' Responses to the Great Depression for this one. Pick whatever is most interesting to you, but if you're interested in really using this on your paper 3 and possibly on your paper 2, Leaders' Response to the Great Depression. In this unit, you are going to be expected to develop your own research question. This is going to be very, very vital to the IA and something that we are going to practice a lot throughout the rest of this year. The question means everything for the research, for the OPCVL, and for your work, because it's answering the question, but it's answering a question that you develop, which means that you get to come back and revise your question. The research question should be rigorous, and therefore you're going to want to break down your research question into a few different sub-questions, questions that help you get to your research question's goal. But we'll have a whole video on this actually, because this is step 1 of your research. The real key here is, and I'm going to make a short video on this at the end actually for this planning section. You are going to be asked to do a few different things. You're going to be using the same NoodleTools project from before and creating a research question. We're going to be grading the research question because there are questions that are good and there are questions that are low level. There are questions that are unanswerable, and you need to find something in the middle. You need to find something that will develop your understanding and that will lead to like thoughtful inquiry, but at the same time, a question that can be answered. A question that is something that you can find historically perspectives on and resources on. So after you develop that research question in the 2 or 3 or 4 sub-questions, more is fine, then you're going to be asked to find some sources. So this time around, I decided that it would be okay for you to use one existing source. If you found material in Unit 1 or if you found material on Unit 2 that will really help you answer your research question, you can do that for one of your 3 sources. But again, we're asking people to get practice finding a primary source, which can be tough, but is doable, especially with a time period as notable as the Great Depression. And one secondary or tertiary source. You need one new primary source. You need one new secondary or tertiary source. And you need a third source. It can be an existing source. If your source does not fit your research question, do not use it. Find something useful instead of just saying, I'm going to use the last thing I found even though it's useless. That will be a waste of your time. And you do not need to OPCVL the entire source. You should always be doing this OPCVL process in your mind when you're adding the source, but you don't need to fill out a full form for it this time. You are going to be asked to, by January 6th, fill out 4 new note cards. These are going to be the notes on each source that answers your question. We're going to make a whole video on this because we're trying to be flexible here. You can have 4 new note cards from your different sources. You might have 2 note cards from one source and 2 note cards from another source. The real key is answering your research question and answering your research sub-questions. So that's going to dictate what goes into these 4 NoodleTools note cards. And then finally, we are going to ask you to make an annotated bibliography with not just 1, but 2 of your new sources. It must be a new source. We're going to be working on OPCVLing our 2 new sources in your annotated bibliography. We are going to be grading this as a summative assessment. It's 2 sources, so it's going to be worth 20 points for this annotated bibliography. And we encourage people to reach out, email me. You can also always use the conference sign up to sign up for a day and time to meet. I'm available a couple different times before, after, and during school. There's no excuses. I'm here. And that is something that you can do if you ever hit a snag in the research, which is possible. So these are the main aspects of the research this time. Let me know what questions you have, and then we're going to start developing a research question in the next video.